This week, I get a semi. Now I have got a semi. Getting a spot of bother in Kazakhstan. And fly on what I believe is the world's oldest passenger airliner as I fly on a 54-year-old Antonov across Kazakhstan. Now, those of you who've been watching the channel for a while will know all about my love of SCAT. That is the glorious nation of Kazakhstan's #2 airline. And, well, they're just awesome fun to fly with, really. But I've got a bit of an issue with them because they only really fly the Boeing 737 and, well, they get a little bit boring after a while. So I wasn't actually planning to fly on them on this trip. But that was until I got some exciting news. You see, I found out that SCAT have started flying some wonderful old Soviet airliners, and for me that just makes me think, wow, it's a very nice. I've decided to book a ride on one, and today we're going to be flying to where else but a town called Semi. The drive out to Almaty Airport from downtown is quite a long one. It takes about an hour, even at 3 o'clock in the morning. Well, have a good day. See you. Well, I jumped out the taxi here because the traffic's horrendous. It's like 4 o'clock in the morning and it's like rush hour here in Almaty, at the airport at least. Let's go and head to the terminal. Despite being such a small airport, at 4 o'clock in the morning, loads of flights arrive into Almaty from all across Europe, so it's probably one of the busiest times of the day to arrive here. Спасибо. Once I got through security, I headed downstairs to find the airport Starbucks, which was much needed at this time of the morning. Grande Americano,
Okay.
and that please as well.
Hot, yes?
Hot, yes, please.
Hot Americano.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
Americano. What's the name?
Philip. Am I the only one who can never get my name spelt right at Starbucks, so just gives them either my last name or a made-up one? It wouldn't be the first time I've told them I was just called Dave.
I like England.
You like England? It's cold, it rains all the time.
I like Manchester City and Chelsea.
Manchester City and Chelsea, yeah. Well, both of them. Huh? Both. Manchester City and Chelsea. And Chelsea, wow.
Very good.
Yeah, very good.
What's your favorite cook?
I am Leicester City.
Ah, Leicester.
I am from Leicester, so yeah. Yes,
Crazy player.
Yes.
And 16, yes?
2016, yes. Yeah. Premier League, yeah.
Great season.
Good, yeah. Спасибо большое. Kazakh, Rahmet, okay.
Good luck.
Thank you, спасибо. Have a good day. Right then, nice and easy through security this morning when I eventually got into the airport at least, and I've come to my favourite spot downstairs here because they have a Starbucks down here, of course. The only one in Almaty Airport. Yeah, but we're heading first to a place called Uzhgar. I'm going to butcher the pronunciation. Anyway, that's our first stop. Then we've got a short stop and then we continue on to Semi on the Antonov 24. I'm so excited for this. I headed down to the gate where it seemed that somebody wasn't quite as excited to get on the plane as I was. I've no idea what was going on, but a whole load of police went running along upstairs and, well, pretty soon it was time for me to get on board my flight, so I didn't really figure out what happened after that. I did see this beautiful SCAT Airline 737 taxiing past though, the airline that I'm actually flying with today, albeit on an Antonov rather than a 737. And being as we were flying on the Antonov today, we got on a bus, of course, right the way across Almaty Airport, which got us to see some amazing planes parked up on the way over there, including the Turkish Airlines A350, which I didn't know that they flew into Almaty, but that's pretty cool nonetheless. Pretty soon though, I got to see the star of the show for today, the 54-year-old Antonov AN-24, parked on the SCAT ramp on the far side of the airport. This flight is actually operated by an airline called Southern Skies Airlines on behalf of SCAT Airlines, who are linked to them in some way. All the crew are SCATs though, and it was a SCAT flight number 2. And what a treat it was once I got on board as well, although you can't really see it in this shot because it was really dark, but 1950s style cabin, open overhead bins, curtains at the windows. This is what Soviet aviation is all about. Alright then, welcome on board the SCAT Airlines. Antonov 24 operated by an airline called Southern Sky for SCAT. This is a very retro plane, built the same year as the moon landings, 1969. While Neil Armstrong was walking on the moon, this plane was rolling off the production line. The latest in Soviet technology in 1969. And it's quite nice, lots of leg room, quite comfy old seats. These lovely big round windows. We've got about 5 hours or so on one of these today, hopping between various airports. It's going to be a good day. Let's get airborne. Pretty soon the fasten seatbelt sign came on, the engines got started, and we started on our way to the runway to begin our SCAT adventure. The sound these Ivchenko engines make is absolutely incredible, and it just goes right through you as the engines start spooling up. But before too long we were at the runway and we powered up the engines, sat on the brakes for a while, and then started our takeoff roll, heading north to Urdjar. The sound of these engines really does sound absolutely incredible. The video does it no justice whatsoever, but fairly soon we were rotating off the runway, beginning a very, very slow climb out over the countryside of Kazakhstan, heading north. My adventure today would take me up to the town of Urdjar and then up to Semi before returning to Urdjar and back down to Almaty in the afternoon. Alright then, airborne from Almaty on the Antonov AN-24. Wow, what a takeoff that was. That was like B-29 levels of rooftop scraping up to take off. The props are well out of balance, as we can hear it's going wong, 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 wong from one side to the other. But yeah, these things never get old. I mean, this plane now is over 50 years old. This was taken to the sky for the first time when Neil Armstrong was walking on the moon. That's the vintage of this plane. It's still going strong. It's built like tanks, these old Antonovs are. They really are. Just look at the seatback tray table in front of us. Look, this is metal. Actual old Soviet metal, that is, like probably made from the same material as whatever sort of tanks they were building back in the 1960s. And then we've got the curtains up at the window, look. Obviously the retro old curtains, and then up above us we've got the open overhead storage racks. No overhead lockers on these flights. These old planes, it's just all completely open at the top. So who knows what would happen if we went through some turbulence and that lot started falling out, but hey, and the seats all fold forward as well. And everyone's sitting in them today, so we might not see that, but usually when you land in these old planes, it's quite funny because half the seats fold forward and collapse. Anyway, we are on our way now to our first stop today, Urdjar, which is sort of northeast of here. We've got about an hour and a half left to go looking at the old iPad. By the way, this app, everyone always asks me what this app is. This is For Flight. It's what I use when I'm flying planes. It's quite expensive, quite pricey, but I use it when I'm actually flying planes, which you can see on my Fly with Noel Phillips channel. Little link to that up on the screen, and check out that channel as well, because that's where I fly all light aircraft all around Texas when I'm back home in the Cirrus. So I'm actually slightly worried about my connections that I've got today, because these are 4 flights I've booked, but you can't book them all at the same time. You have to book separate tickets for every single one of them. So I've got 4 separate tickets today, from here to Urdjar, from Urdjar to Semi, from Semi to Urdjar, and from Urdjar back to Almaty again. And I have got a Semi, so a Semi boarding pass for my next leg from Urdjar to Semi anyway. So yeah, we'll see if I'm able to get my Semi flight when I get up to Urdjar. Fingers crossed I can. I mean, I suppose if not, I can wait to Urdjar and then get the same plane on the way back. I'm really hoping I don't get stuck in Semi, because being stuck in Semi is not a good place to be. It's in the middle of nowhere, so I don't know whether I'd be able to get a flight back or anything like that. It's not ideal, is it? Not an ideal position, being stuck in a state of Semi-ness. Alright, then we have started our descent down into Urdjar. We should be on the ground in around about 15 minutes from now. Fairly soon the wheels were coming down and we were on our final approach to our first stop today of Erdjar. I then landed in Erdjar. I've got 5 minutes, actually no, I've got 4 minutes to make my connection here. Let's see if we do it or not. It's going to be a bit of a run, I think. I was just hoping that Erdjar Airport was quite as small as it looked on Google Maps, and pretty soon I was able to find out. Hi. It turned out that printing my boarding pass for the next flight in English was going to cause quite a bit of confusion here at Erdjar Airport. I headed through to the arrivals area, which was just this gravel car park part of the airport at the side of the terminal.
Семи, да. Erdjar Семи.
Багаж есть?
Нет.
So much as I had feared, transiting to the next flight involved going completely out of the airport and then checking in again for the next flight. I just hoped that there was enough time, seeing as though it was literally about to leave. Thankfully though, the airport did look pretty tiny and I just hoped that they'd just let me through. There was a small check-in area just here where people seemed to be hanging around, but I think a lot of these people were people that had just arrived off the incoming flight. I headed through to the check-in desk where I was able to go through to departures.
Здравствуйте. Have already.
Ой, на английском же я не знаю. На русском.
Transit here. Yeah. So, Семи.
Багаж нету, да?
Нет багаж. Спасибо.
Можете вот посмотреть.
Спасибо.
Здравствуйте.
Здравствуйте. Спасибо. Семи.
Здравствуйте.
Здравствуйте.
У вас тут ноутбук есть, да, или планшет? О, спасибо.
Yeah, да.
Danke.
Thank you. Спасибо.
With security out the way, it was time to head through to the rather basic departure lounge here at Erdjar Airport. It was all very nice with a few benches and things like that in the middle of summer, but I have a feeling that in the middle of winter, when it gets down to 20 below freezing with heavy snow, it might not be quite as nice. Before too long though, the gate was opened, literally, and I headed across to the plane to get my semi on.
Первый, второй, третий, у кого это место? Подходите.
Спасибо.
Успели?
Спасибо. Yeah. See you.
Bye-bye.
Bye bye. Hello again. Hello. Hey, thank you. I don't know if I'm in 5 or 8.
I know.
Let's see. Okay. Perfect. Thank you.
Alright, so all on board once again here in Erdjar. Some confusion with the seats. They've basically double sold all the seats, or double booked everybody. So everybody who was in the seats that they were allocated has now been moved. And I'm been chucked in a aisle, which is okay. Because it means I can get out and do a loo review halfway through the flight. Yay! So we're off to Semi. Let's go and get a Semi on. And no, before you ask, I will not get tired of doing Semi jokes throughout the entire video because I do have the mind of an 8-year-old. I do, however, have to give credit to the lovely babushka who was sat at the side of me, who very kindly filmed the takeoff for me on my phone as we climbed out of Erdjar. Right then, airborne from Erdjar, on my way to Semi now. It's about an hour-long flight, I think, this one, and it's not too bad actually sitting on the aisle seat. You still get quite a good view out of the window over there because it's like quite close. Lovely lady at the side of me has been helping me take some video out of the window, so it's just frustrating. I've got no downloaded translate on my phone, so our conversation basically consists of Karosha and Spasiba. But hey, that's okay because we are on the Antonov once again, on the old Antonov, heading across to Semi. It's just so amazing to be able to ride on this piece of history.
It's time for the Noel Phillips Lou Review.
Alright then, I promised it, and here it is, and to mark the occasion I'm wearing my Noel Phillips Lou Review t-shirt. You can buy in the merch store at noelphillips.com. But this is the Soviet retro 1960s Lou on the Antonov 24. I mean, would you look at this? So it's all metal construction. We've got a nice 1960s retro look thing going on there with the sink. We've got a lovely mirror. We have 3 lights above there. Look at that. It's like you feel like you're in a beauty salon or something, or in a dressing room to go on a stage or something. But anyway, and there's a bit of kitchen roll there for you to dry your hands on. And then we've got a bin down here. And then there's a lovely 1960s Gulag inspired, I would say, toiletta. I don't think I'd fancy sitting on that. It looks a little bit cold, doesn't it? And then we've got, what's this button do here? There is a button here for something. Kneel. Car. Oh, I don't understand what that says. Russian speakers will tell me what that says, presumably. And then we've got the little bit of toilet roll down there. And a bin and everything. I mean, how's this for a retro loo? Hey, I like this. This is my idea of a decent loo. It's so cool because I'm on the flight, by the way, chatting away to people who don't speak a word of English, because we're in rural Kazakhstan. Nobody speaks English. I speak about 3 words of Russian and none of Kazakh whatsoever. So our communication is difficult, but we are managing, and it's interesting. You always find a way, don't you, to talk, even when you're in countries like Kazakhstan. You always find a way to be able to communicate with people, and we're doing it through hand gestures and waving arms about aeroplanes and things like that. And chap across from me has got Google Translate on his phone that's working very slowly because he's somehow managed to get a phone signal, and he's able to do some degree of translation. It takes about 5 minutes for us to get a response. So we sort of type, then we wait 5 minutes, and then we type again, and then we wait another 5 minutes. It's a bit slow, but it's working. So anyway, that is the loo on the Antonov 24. Just love it.
That was the Noel Phillips Lou Review.
So the flight attendant on this flight is a really cool guy. He's an av geek as well, which is pretty cool. And we were just chatting about old planes and stuff like that. He said he gets loads of people coming to Kazakhstan just to fly on this plane, so he's well used to people coming and taking pictures and videos and stuff. A welcome change from the last time I flew on an old Antonov over in Russia, where I got shouted at by Olga, who wouldn't let me take any pictures or anything. And here he's like, oh, come on, let me show you this, let me show you that, and take a picture of this, take a picture of that. He's even been taking pictures of me in the cabin. That's really, really cool. So yeah, thank you to the flight attendant here. He only works on the Antonovs actually for SCAT. He's a SCAT flight attendant, and he just works on the Antonovs, doesn't work on the 737, so he gets to fly on these every day. That's such a cool job, isn't it? Flying on these old Antonovs day in, day out. Pretty flipping sweet, that is. We should be landing down in Semi pretty soon, I think, and then I've got another really tight one in Semi, because I've got to get a flight back to Erdjar, because I'm effectively on this plane all day, and I'm with that flight attendant all day as well, which is pretty cool now. All the way from now all the way up to Semi, back to Erdjar, and then back to Almaty again.
Before too long though, we were starting our approach down into Semi, and once again the lovely lady at the side of me took my camera and filmed the landing for me, which was awesome. Thank you very much.
Okay, I'll see you soon.
Okay. See.
See you soon, yeah.
Where are you from?
From England, Angliski, yeah.
Are you traveler here?
Travel, yes, to fly on the Antonov.
Okay. And then where you going to
Then
go?
back to Erdjar.
Erdjar again? You?
Yes. To fly on the Antonov.
I like aeroplanes.
Okay. You want to? You come only to see?
I come to see the plane.
Oh, that's just plane.
Just the plane, yeah. Could be anywhere, but it's an old plane. I like the
okay.
old plane. So.
Then you stay here 1 hour and go
Yeah,
back.
1 hour and then back to Erzurum and back to Almaty. And you live here or?
I live here, yeah, but we're living in another city.
Okay. Was it nice here? Nice place, yeah?
How is Kazakhstan for you?
I love Kazakhstan. It's one of my favorite places.
Really?
Yeah, I love it.
You're not first time here?
No, it's my 3rd time. 3 times
Really?
in Kazakhstan, yeah.
And then, how many places you visit here?
So I've been Astana, Aktau, Almaty several times, so yeah. And now today, Semi. So. Well, nice to meet you anyway. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you.
My first job I had to do in Semi before even thinking about venturing outside was to check in for my flight back to Erzurum.
Hello, здравствуйте. So I have already.
No.
So I don't know. I go to Erzurum and Almaty. It's possible to keep window, Mesto? Yeah, thank you. Спасибо. Thank you to this week's video sponsor, Surfshark, who always come to the rescue whenever I want to watch some British TV when I'm travelling. Surfshark is a VPN provider, and what that means quite simply is that you can use their software to connect to the internet from anywhere in the world and make it look like you're just at home, which has some really good benefits. For instance, I could be sitting here by a sunny pool in Vietnam and watching some Top Gear on my phone. It lets me watch EastEnders here in the middle of the Australian outback. Oh yeah, I'll have a Castlemaine 4X please, mate. Cheers. Surfshark even lets me catch up with Only Fools and Horses while I'm here in New York. Now Surfshark are offering you a massive 83% discount plus 3 months free when you use my promo code Noel Phillips at the link on the screen now. What are you waiting for? Even Baby Shark approves. Alright then, welcome to Semi in the north of Kazakhstan. This is a really big airport considering it's like literally in the middle of absolutely nowhere. It's just desert all around, and then there's this brand new airport in the middle. It's quite nice actually, nice airport, and they've got a Yak 40 over there. I'm going to go and have a quick look at that because I've got about 30 minutes before my next flight, so I'm going to have a quick goz at the Yak and then we'll go and get back in the airport ready for my next flight back down to Erzurum again. And I've got a window seat again. I'm back in 5A for this next one, so let's go and have a look. Would you look at this? Lovely old Yak 40. Been on one of them, been on 2 of them actually, over in Russia. Beautiful, beautiful old plane. They're amazing to ride on, they are. Look at that though. Don't know whose that one is. It may be, don't know who it is. There's no livery on it at the moment. Maybe it was old Air Kazakhstan or something like that. But yeah, there it is. Yak 40 here in Semi. Right, finished ogling the Yak. I better go back inside because my flight leaves, or it's boarding in about 10 minutes. And I don't want to get stuck in Semi. I imagine it's quite a hard place to get out of when you're in Semi. So let's head back inside and get back across to the plane for our flight back to Erzurum. Yay!
But before I headed through security, I wanted to have a quick look around the airport here at Semi, and it's really cool. Despite being just 5 years old, it looks like something you'd see in the Soviet Union back in the 1980s. It's a really cool building that's like going back in time.
Alright, just in time, got through security. Boarding the plane in a couple of minutes to get back out of Semi and get back on the road south down to Erzurum again. Let's go. Спасибо. Thank you. Hello again.
Hello again.
Friend now.
Where's your place?
So, 5A.
No, Pepe.
Again, yeah. Oh, thank you.
Near window.
Near window, yay. Thank you. Yeah. So, right then, back on board. flight back now to Erdgar. I still can't remember how you say it, but this is where I am. I'm back in 5 again. This is what the seats do. I was telling you about the seats that collapse. They sort of flop forward like that, which is great if there's nobody there, because you can put your leg up and have like a flatbed seats, but there will be somebody there. It's a very full flight again, I think. Again, about an hour long run down back to Erdgar, and then we'll see if we retain this window seat for the tight connection there before we go back down to Almaty again.
Pretty soon though, the engine started and we started our taxi out to get back heading south towards Erdgar.
So I've actually been thinking that this old Antonov, being 54 years old and still in regular airline service, I'm just wondering if this is possibly the oldest, or one of the oldest, passenger planes that are flying in commercial service today. I know there's like museum pieces and stuff that are flying, but I mean on actual scheduled routes. This has got to be up there, surely. 54 years old and it's still flying passengers here in Kazakhstan. I think it's certainly, for me, the oldest passenger plane I've been on in a commercial flight. I've obviously flown on older planes as well, like at museums and stuff, but in terms of regular airline passenger service, this might just be the oldest plane I've ever flew on, which is pretty cool really to say it's still going, isn't it? Wow. Well, one thing about this plane is it is exceedingly hot on board. There is no kind of air vents or anything like that on board this old plane. It's just literally like a sweat box on inside. It's really, really hot and sweaty. I think it's probably something to do with the fact that it's a really warm day, but also the fact we've got these massive engines whirring away just at the side of us, and no way of cooling the cabin down at all. We're just sort of at the mercy of the elements really, but hey, thankfully they're not too long, these flights. I'm looking forward to getting some fresh air at the end though.
The scenery heading back down to Erdgar was pretty cool. It was quite mountainous and rocky outside, which I hadn't really had a chance to see on the way up because I was obviously in the window seat. After about an hour's flight there, we were starting our approach down back into Erdgar Airport. So here we were then once again back on the ground at Erdgar, ready to connect back to the same plane heading down to Almaty Airport. Let's just hope that the transfer experience was just as smooth this time.
Last leg now. Thank you. Put your head. Yeah.
Ну они же не дают вам это?
So I headed back into Erdgar Airport, and it's fair to say they were surprised to see me again quite so soon.
Вы что, опять?
Yes, thank you. Possible for window still? For 2.8 still? Нет.
Вы только фоткаете все?
Да. I like самолета.
Все?
Спасибо большое. Thank you.
Следующий проходите. Сейчас, минуточку. А что вы остались?
Hello again.
Откуда вы?
Hello again.
Вы же в Астану улетели же.
Да, Almaty, Erdgar, Semi, Erdgar, Almaty.
Почему?
I do YouTube. Yeah, I make video for YouTube, so
YouTube,
fly.
Дайте документы. Посадочные документы все.
Снимает надо, да?
Наверное, репортер. Репортер?
Журналист?
No, I do YouTube. Aviation, so aviation,
Вы журналист?
journalist, not yet.
After finding out they thought I was a journalist, I was a little bit worried because Western journalists in Kazakhstan can have quite a hard time. I headed out to the departure lounge for a few minutes though before I was called back into the terminal, and I was a little bit worried at this point.
Crazy English here.
As it turned out though, they found the entire prospect of someone coming all the way to Kazakhstan just to fly on an old Antonov pretty humorous, and they wanted a photo with me, presumably so they could look back and laugh at this crazy British guy who once flew through their tiny airport twice in one day.
Спасибо.
No problem, thank you.
Спасибо.
Thank you, no problem. Alright then, back through security and everything, no problems at all there. People were just very bemused that they only saw me this morning about 2 hours ago and now I'm back. I'm going to explain what I do to people, and this is the thing, people here are so nice about it though. Some parts of the world you go and you try to make video and it can be really, really tricky for like security and all the rest of it. Here though, they are so open to it, and I think they get quite a lot of people coming to fly on this old thing here in Kazakhstan, so they get a little bit used to it to a degree, and they just find it amazing that people are coming to these little tiny towns. Kazakh people on the whole, really, really friendly people, just love it when I'm here. You're always made to feel really welcome, which is nice, as you do in many parts of the world really. Right, last leg now. About an hour now, back down to Almaty. I think I've got a window seat, I haven't actually checked, and we'll figure out when we get on board for the last ride of the Antonov on this trip. Спасибо, до свидания. Back again. Last one. Right then, last leg on board the Antonov for today, for me and for the crew, because they've had a long day today flying all these legs as well. I've gone for row 2 on the way back on this last leg, because I thought it'd be a change of scenery, but there's actually no window here, but there is sort of a window there. Just got a nice view of that prop, look at that view there. And then we're in an exit row as well, so which is quite handy. At least we're not far from that. And again, about an hour and a half, I think, down to Almaty now. Last leg of the day. Looking forward to getting back, but by golly, I've enjoyed today. It's been a really good day.
After the doors were closed, the airport fire service turned up and started spraying down the ground underneath the plane, which was pretty interesting. I've never seen this before. If you know what they were doing, please could you let me know, because I'm as confused as heck.
Right, I'm airborne on our last leg of the day, then back down to Almaty. Honestly, I have had so much fun today flying on these old Antonovs. They're just absolutely incredible. There's barely any of them flying today. They're very difficult to get hold of, notoriously difficult to get hold of, especially if you don't live in Russia. Because if you're in Russia, I think, Ukraine did have some motor seats used to fly them, and they were always great for a day out. But since the special operation thing in Ukraine, sadly nobody knows really the status of their Ant-24s and motor seats at the minute. fingers crossed they come back and it gives us another option. But for now, these ones in Kazakhstan are pretty much all you've got if you don't live in Russia, really. So yeah, the chance to actually fly on one of these pieces of aviation history is just absolutely phenomenal to me, and for the price you pay as well, it ain't that expensive. Seriously, if you've got a few days here in Kazakhstan, in Almaty, or even in Astana, because they fly them up to Astana on some routes as well, but check them out. I'll pop a link to their website down in the description.
As we headed back south, we flew right overhead Lake Balkhash, which is always absolutely beautiful to see from the sky. We headed further south over the plains of Kazakhstan and finally got to see the mountains just to the south of Almaty as we started our approach down into Almaty International Airport. Down in Almaty right on schedule at about 1 o'clock in the afternoon. My entire flight up to Semi and back with the stop in Erjar each way cost me less than $200. It's just $48 a ride on the old Antonov 24, and you can book it at the website highsky.kz. Sunday Airlines is another one of Scat Airways' subsidiaries that I'd really like to try and get a ride on at some point. They fly from Kazakhstan to sunshine destinations like Turkey, Dubai and places like that. But we parked up on stand next to the Kazakhstan Air Force Airbus A330 that the President of Kazakhstan uses as he flies around the world. I'd like to say thank you to my amazing Patreons for their ongoing support. You can join them at the link on the screen now for access to my WhatsApp group, regular Zoom calls with me and much more. Of course, being in the Antonov 24, once again we were parked up over on the Scat ramp at Almaty Airport, which meant taking the bus back to the terminal. We headed back though, and pretty soon we were arriving back at the terminal building and making our way through to get back to landside.
Alright, welcome back to Almaty International Airport. What an amazing fun that was, eh? Right, let's go and get my car. I've got my Yandex on its way, it should be here in a couple of minutes. Hi. Alright then, welcome back to Almaty. Oh, what a wonderful day that was, going all the way up to the north of Kazakhstan and back, logging 4 more Antonov 24 flights. Wow, there's my view of my room, by the way. This is Almaty. This is sort of the north side. On the other side is the mountain range that we saw as we come in. But yeah, I had a wonderful day today. I hope you enjoyed watching this video as much as I enjoyed making this video. It's been an absolute blast today, going all around Kazakhstan on those Antonovs. And yeah, just fantastic to be able to ride on one again in 2023. Isn't that incredible? But let me know, as always, what you thought to this video down in the comments. And in the meantime, as always, thanks so much for watching. Take care, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye for now.